start recording. I'll share my screen. Is it able to see my screen? So we don't have a download options here. That is a problem. Anyway, it's okay, no problem. So what was our thing yesterday? Like we were talking about database and answers.com. Um, like which particular project we think international private bank, right? Okay. Yeah, true. Okay. Let me share my screen. So look at this. Yeah, you're not able to see my screen? Yeah. Okay. So guys, able to see my screen, right? So what was our agenda? Yesterday, just we were talking about yeah. So what is the resource that we're gonna maintain, and what technologies will be involved in this particular project, and this is the URL that we have. Correct. So likewise, we will try to create today a project, but before that, few things we'll talk. Why? Because one of the area I think is this is very important to us. Firstly, we need to understand who are the profiles would be associated to this project. Only when we have this, we can configure all of the stuff. Getting? So why this is required? You say without a people, we cannot have a company. And if you say that the people, um, like it is a defined roles. If I say a company, someone would be a founder or a CEO or a chairman, and then followed by a couple of managers, architects, and resource like developer, test guys. So many things are there. Getting? So I'm just saying that it is the particular role. It's not about the individual, people name. It is all the roles. You guys getting? So whoever name I said, it's not the one particular person. Maybe a founder, or co-founder, or CEO will all be point to one. But when you say about a general terms like managers, architects, developers, testers, so these are the general terms where the particular role can hold by many people. If someone says he is the lead, okay, in that company, so many people can be lead. Not only he is the lead. So for that, one particular profile we'll try to create, and the as many people can be associated to that particular profile. Okay, so what shall we do is now, so we will plan the profiles, who, what name it could be, and what level of access can be. At a basic level, we'll think about this, and then we'll get into the project. Is of course you think that the data model, object name, and everything in the table is high level important. But every time when we create a table or object, so it asks who should have this access to. So at that time, I don't have an answer. If I directly jump in here and I try to create a table and show you guys, every time it'll ask me which profile you wanted to access. If I have a profile and permission set managed at the very beginning, who will be seeing what, then it will be easy for me at this which object could be accessed to by which person. So that we can easily distinguish. And even when the layout you're creating it also, or anything like reports or maybe OWD also when you try to create, we are opening up the access to that particular object generally. But ideally what should happen is the profiles should be very important level. Should be created at the very beginning. So that is the basic things let's think through. Oh my god, what's happening here? Okay, we will be focusing on this. We'll just come quickly here and then and see this schema diagram. So we know these many peoples are important, and at the same time, so let me see the syllabus also. What is our next focus? So we'll be today, creating the right way. So like we have to complete these two things at a high level, and give you an assignments. So let's see, this assignment would be focused on. I would be trying to create something, and you guys have to, cover up things. So yes, of course, I'll give individual access. Maybe we are not getting into connections like this, but at least like individual objects, you would be creating it. So we'll plan that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna focus on these two things, and then slowly add a user and then role, and then look into it. So firstly, I'll tell you what are we doing now. So if you someone's and ask me what do you mean by profiles or what is this we are doing it, so let's get into this thing. So let's assume this is a system. So this is systems where um, we may have a couple of things. Like say the very beginning of the any applications could be um, at a top level if you talk applications. So for example here we assume an international private bank. So this is the application name. Getting? What is this in these applications? What we can see the moment I log into these applications, I can see couple of tabs. Correct? Tabs in the sense it is called as menu basically. So at the moment when you click on each menu, they should refer to our tables. In Salesforce, we say objects. Okay? It could be standard or custom object, whatever, but they are objects. So other language they talk it as tables. So next, each and every tables or whatever the object, they will have a layout. What is a layout? UI. All basically called as page layouts. Page layouts. In other language, people may call it as UI. UI elements, form elements, or whatever they can call it out. Okay, so what in this page you can see? So you can see basically sections, sections. Why I'm saying section is because they have left section, right section, something like that. And yeah, section we don't have another option to say in another language. So ideally, last what you see is you see fields. What you see fields, and inside that you can see data. And unlike in other terms, they call it as columns. I'm just correlating with SQL. So for field they talk as columns, and for data they talk as rows. Inside that row, that's how they talk. Is any questions here? Yeah, we'll come to the profiles, but understanding an application, ideally what an application would be under that, basically what you see is you see always a collection of tabs and menus. If you click on a menu, you'll jump into a table, and on the table when you open a layout, so you see sections, and in the sections you see a couple of fields and records. Fields means you will have a 10 or 15 fields, whatever. Inside each and every field would be data. For example, first name, last name, email. Those are fields, of course. Inside that you can see data. You getting? So this is the ideal state of any application should be. So more onto this, you can have additional things also. I can have a list of table where displaying all the records. All this is possible. But ideal state is an application should have a menu and then they should have a respective tables associated to, right? Okay. So now what profiles are doing, I'll tell you. So I know that very beginning, this is a known thing. Now at a profile level, if you say, should I access this tab? Should I access this table? Should I access these fields? Getting? Profiles are divided by the sections. Profiles are divided by sections. In each profile, when I try to create, they will have all these items. All these items they will mention. And if you see the profile, so they will just divide these items. What is this? In profile, if you see, they will divide these items. Who should see what? Everything they will divide. Okay. Sectional they don't have like this. Page load they have. Everything they would divide. Why? Because should I give an access to this application for that particular profile? Yes or no? Should I show the tab or no? Should I give an object permission to read, create, edit or no? Should I show the page layout or no? Should I show the fields? Though I give all the access, still I should show the fields or not. Then finally, if I don't show read options in the no object, you cannot see the data as well. So each and every items that has been here are being controlled at the profile level. Is getting. So now let me open. I mean, let me keep the same, and I just open any random profile and show you guys how idle it works. So let me open a standard one, which is a system administrator, which you have all access. Let me open that. Look at this. So this is a profile name, page layouts. So each and every section they are having it. Page layouts. Why page layouts? Each and every object will have their own layout. Correct? Account, if I say account, will have a layout. Order. These all are individually in objects or a table, what you call. So everyone will have a layout. What inside the layout should be there will be sections and collection of fields would be there. So this is how ideally it will be. So page layout you can configure here. Field level security. That has been for every object there will be a couple of fields, right, that you can see here. And app settings. As I was telling here, if I create an app called as International Private Bank, you can see app here. Should I be visible for that particular guy profile? Basically, it's not only for one. It is a profile where you can have collection of users. So should I give the apps access? And then look at this tab access. Tab means it's a menu. Should I be default on or default off or hidden basically? Three options we have. And then yes, 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 yes. Profiles we can never create like that. Profile only we can clone it. That means a default things always Salesforce would have been given. You can clone the profile. Even though you want to create a custom profile, you should clone from some existing profiles because they already having a template of what should be given access. You getting? So if you try to create a let's say a profile on your own, you may miss few things. You may not focus on the tab settings, or you may not focus on the custom apps, or something you would miss it. So that's the reason Salesforce doesn't allow anyone to create on for themselves. So they allow to create on only on the clone basis. So some existing profiles there you should clone them and then remodify according to your strategy, whatever you want. But all the items of whichever you see as sections, these all are important for every profile, whether you give access or not. But all the items should be present. Getting? Come on, did you get it? Okay. So apart from other things also, so at the profile level we have many level of access would give it. So what is that if you think? So record type settings for accounts, if you do have a record types, do the record type should I give an access? If I say a page layout, ideally for our project, if you see the moment on a product, if you click new product, I should show you two options called banking and insurance. So the moment you choose banking, then I'll navigate to banking page, or insurance, I should navigate to insurance page layout. So prior to that, I'm navigating right the business. So that two options which I give is called record type. Should I show that record type or not? So that is the record type access that we give here. And then administrative permissions, where we talk about whether this guy can have what is him library access, or he can manage the passwords, or he can create a profiles. Any API service you can use it. Any roles you want to manage, any dashboards you can create, reports you can create. Can you go and modify some users? Can he, if he has this modify all data, even the read fields also you can modify. Since this is the system administrator, we have these many access. Ideally, when we try to clone someone who is a very basic level access, only you have to clone it. Should not have these many options. then there's no point of having a system admin or a normal sales rep. At least if they both are same access, then it's a crazy. So we'll see that at a configuration level, who should see what, that will come through later stage. But these are very simple things where should he have an access to create a reports or not? Maybe for a rep, I don't know why he should have modified data. Um, he can use edit his own reports or dashboards, whatever. But he should not be too much of jumping in too many things. So this administrative stuff we could no minimizing to him as being a sales rep for him. A lot of things are there for him. So then again, general permission should start where no, allow sending list of emails, activate orders, activate contracts. So maybe these are not required to him. So we'll all turn off this. And look at this. For accounts, if I say object, standard object permission, they have read, create, edit, delete, view all, modify all. This is because of system admin, we have been enabled all. But default, you cannot change anything here. Getting? So you cannot change anything here. It is by default, it is all. For custom profile, we may just give read access only. Maybe we can have a create edit access. Sometimes you may not give delete also. So likewise, if you wanted to configure for a particular table, when he logs in, what level of access he will have. What is ultimate things he can do is he can read, create, edit. That's it. If you want to don't want to delete any record, you need to take off these permissions here because we're never going to give you a delete access to him. So then take this option and check it. So this is for standard objects. All you can see any custom object you create. So this below this it will be a custom object will be written here. Otherwise, if you see any password policies you have, in how many days this guy has to get expired for this password, and when you want to any questions that you want to ask, and how many attempts, invalid attempts you will see, what is the lockout effective period. These are the basic things you will have, and how many, what is the login hours we can keep it here. Let's say from morning 9 to evening 6 only will allow you. Thereafter will not allow you to the login hours. This also could be another point. After 6 or after 6 o'clock, if you log in, it will log out. So it will not basically log in. Only on the login hours it will log in you. And within the company, if I have any IP ranges, within the IP range only, it will log in. But ideally, I've given from 00 to 255, so it will never ask you any OTP same stuff. So I've just opened or by what to say, bypassed all the any APIs or sorry any IPs which is coming, and that if it allows you to ask a password or sorry OTP, so I've bypassed it, giving this IP. So again, any Apex class or Visual Force page or any external things you want to give an access, all this will be enabled here. So profile is one thing which will have a full level control of your system, full level control of this entire, or it's not only about the one particular application. Is getting. So when I talk about a profile here, it is not limited to only one applications. Like these, I can have n number of applications. Is getting. This is not only my focus. I can have n number of applications in my org. I don't. Hmm, yeah, I'll create all this and then show you. So what I'm trying to say is I'm just giving an overview from explaining theoretically and showing the UI. So what I'm saying is you have an applications international bank. So like that you can have international bank. Other things you can have XYZ also. Let me, for every application these are the basic things that would be requiring. So I would say here um, data management. Okay, let's see LMS leave management system. Another one I say mm, reservation. Look at this. What is this basically if you think? It is single org. In a single org, I can have as many applications I can want. Getting now profile is something that now profile is something that, let's assume manager. So the moment that when the manager logs in to this particular org, if you set at the profile level, I want to have access to all of this application, all of the tabs, all of the menus. So then you can have access to overall things. Look at this. Each and every profile is associated to an org. The complete org you can have an access to multiple applications. Now let's say for this particular profile, I will give only access to this if you think only this application will have an access. And if you say I don't want to give access to this application, okay, will not show to him. Getting in a single hour, I can have a multiple applications. But in profile, you will decide whether I have to give all the access to everyone, sorry, all the access to all the applications, or should I restrict it to one? Basically, what I'm trying to say is profile is the title that itself says is the moment when you log in, what you see in application. Getting the moment when you log in, what you see in our application or what you see is what has been set as a profile. Just getting now what is permissions that people says. Additionally, whichever you give at not top level access to the same application to the user, it is called as a profiles. Sorry, permission sets. When I say profile, absolutely about a manager, I say that okay, though is a manager, I'm giving only one permission to this particular application. But somehow I have five managers. Let's say example, five users, five managers we have in our org, and one guy I am treating it as a senior manager. Among these five, one guy is very senior, where I wanted to give access to this all this application. Getting? Ideally, I know he's a manager. Five people are a manager. I've not given all the access to all the applications to that particular guy, but only one guy I have to give all the access. Then what to do? Yes, getting. But I'm not. What is my question? Hello. Yeah, I need to have one senior all the access, and rest of the five in among the one among the five people is like having all the access, or rest of the four is having whatever it is defined like this. Only one application will give an access. So how do we do if we say um, first thing is we have to have a generalized profile. What is it profile? What you configure is what you can see it. What I've configured now, only application access I'll give, not other applications. That is what is configured in the profile level. Okay. Now, when I say about a simple manager profile, he's not the user, it is actually a profile. Let's say um, IPB. IPB is a manager. IPB manager means it's a profile name you think. So to this, anyone I can assign. IPB manager is the profile name for five users. If I say the user, let's say Dravid, Sachin. Okay, let's say these are the five people you think as a managers. Okay, five people are individually all are manager. I mean, all are users who are associated to. Look at this. Who are associated to this particular profile. Getting? So all these five users are associated to this particular profile. Yes, getting? And this particular profile is having access to the entire org. And in this org, only one application they have an access. But I'm saying, hey, only to I wanted to give only an access to Sachin, who should be a senior manager here, and he can access all of these applications. The first purpose it is solved for us. What? Okay, all of the five managers have created and given access to this org. But one exception I have to create, right? So what I have to do is for this particular person, I have to open up the access. Aren't true? Only for this particular person, I have to open up the access, saying that hey, maybe only for Sachin, I'll give an additional access. For that, you cannot create a separate profile. Getting? I would not say that IPB senior manager. I should not say it is. I know because ideally everyone is having the same access. Why you should have a different one? So in that case, what we do is we create a permission set. Yeah. So we can create a permission set. In that permission set, it will be same like how the configuration we are seeing like a profile, right? The same level permission set we can see. So in the permission set, what has again? So it has again which again applications you wanted to have an access, which tabs, which objects, which page layout, section, fields, each and everything again in the permission set they would be covered. So what it is ideally saying is it is trying to give open up the access to a particular user. Now let's say in this permission set, so what I'm trying to create as a thing is IPB manager all apps. So this is the all apps access. So this is the permission set name I'm creating it. So in this permission set, what I'm doing is I'm trying to open up the access to all the applications. And what I do is after creating this, I have to associate to a user, individual user. It is not for a profile, it is for a user. I have to do it. One only to a user. Because I meant to do is only for Sachin here. If you want to give all people access, you can go assign it to it. So what is the purpose again? It's a crazy, no? So I can go do it in the profile only. You getting? So if I want to give access to all the applications, so why should I have a separate permission set to do so? So I can give them at a default level at the profile only. Go give all the application access. So need not to open up separately, go and giving a separate permission set. Getting? So permission set is something that we um, try to open up the access. It is just to give grant the permissions. Permissions will never deny anyone's permissions. For example, you getting a permission set and asking um, you remove all the access and then you associate to someone like drive it. That doesn't work because at a profile level you already has an access to application and you created a permission set which doesn't have access to anything and you associate to drive it. So at that time profile will override. Profile is the one which is like the champion which will always override any configurations. Yes, getting in the profile level you are giving the object access as read, write, delete, view, all, modify all you given. Now somewhere you are trying to control that object as a private. Getting it never work because at the profile level you have given open up all the access. Now what do you want to control with them? Okay, again I'll repeat. What is we are trying to talk here is first thing is profile. Now questions on the profile. How many profiles we can have in an hour? How many profiles we can have? in an org. When I say org, it is complete Salesforce org, whichever you have been purchased for. In that org, you can have so many applications, so many things you can have. It's a big org is actually a big one. Organization, right? Salesforce is org where we say developer org, sandbox, all this we say, right? Each and everything is considered as an org. Org will have a n number of things. So likewise, how many profiles we can have in an org? So it's not defined as many you can create. I'm just putting some entry questions here, maybe a very basic questions for people who wanted to understand. So for this answer is as many. The next question is how many profiles can a user own? Yes, only one. How many users can be associated to a profile? Perfect. Because when I say IPV manager, I can be so many people to IPV manager. All of the people we see here is IPV manager. So we can say as many users. And the fourth point is can we create a custom profile? Yes, no? Yes. No. Custom profile you can create. Yes, only only by cloning, only by cloning existing profile. Some profile would be there, no? So you have to go to system admin, clone them, and give your own custom name. That becomes a custom profile. Yes, only by cloning an existing profile. So clone is very important. Without cloning, you cannot have your own profile. So Raj, you got it. So what is next? Um, Profile is the highest level. Yes. Profile is the highest level access configured. If you say yes, why? Hmm. At a profile level, for any object, if I give read, write, everything I have given access. Now I'm trying to downgrade that particular, a particular person, whichever the profile has been associated, and I wanted to take up the access. That will never happen. If you open up the access everything in the profile and now you try to control somewhere else, it will never happen. But don't give anything in the profile, but you can control from some other where giving additional access. That is possible, no? For example, in this case, where for all the IPv managers, I didn't give any access. Only one application I didn't have access. Now, I'm giving additional permissions to Sachin, where I'm giving more, what is it? In this, I'm giving LMS application access, and then again, I'm giving reservation application access. What do you mean by this? So I'm just opening up the access. This means what? I'm opening up access. So permission set or any other options will try to open up the access. They will never restrict. They will never restrict the application or restrict the access to an or user. Getting? So now let's ask a questions to other way to the permission set. Same thing. Permission set is associated to or we can say assigned to a profile or user. So what is the answer for this? Permission set is assigned to a profile or user. It's always to user because we focus on individual people. Whereas profile, generally if we talk, it is a group of people can be associated to it. Okay. Can I have more than one permission set to a user? Can I more than one permission? Answer again is it is yes. You can have as many permission set. Oh my god. What happened? Sixth question jumped off. Sixth question I think what was so fine, right? So these are the important questions whenever you want to have very straightforward question. Can I have more than one permission set to a user? Yes. For Sachin, today I'm giving one LMS access. Another option, another permission type which I create specifically for reservation application to give an access. Why? Because tomorrow what I do is I wanted to give only the reservation app to my, or I wanted to give only LMS access to Dravid. So what I do is if I have individual permission set like that is created, I can give any one to the right persons, right? So when people want both of them, so then I'll choose both the permissions set to a respective user. So that way, as many permissions that I can create and associate to a user. So this is happens how it is. You are joined a company, only five salespeople are there. Priorly, only one sales rep was there. He has an access to entire system. Now you are hiring new persons who came to your company. Let's say four people are sales reps again. But how do you give an access to the four peoples? One manager, sorry, one CEO was there, one rep was there. Assume. So it's a small company, just they started. So company is doing good. So they're asking people to join. But that guy is a sales rep only, who was already who was already there. Now the same level of access if you give the new joiners, so there's no meaning. This guy would know multiple things, and the new guys who coming is know very few things. So they shouldn't destroy anything, right? So what they do is for a sales rep at a profile level, they give minimum configurations, and they create a permission set associate to the senior guy more number of access. And for other new joiners who came, no, just simple profile access is more than enough for them because at a profile level they have taken off all the access which is not required at a beginning stage. But for the existing guy, more permissions are created, additional access are created associated to that particular sales rep guy. Getting? Sorry guys, clear here? Okay. So this is what we'll be doing it. So if you see IPB manager, first thing is you have to note it. So what this manager have an access to. Next IPB sales rep, what this guy has an access to. Now again we have to create such roles. Roles again are one of the important things. In an org, having a role hierarchy is also a pretty important thing. Role hierarchy. So what this role hierarchy talks about. Again, how many roles can be associated to per person? Only one role you can have. You cannot have multiple roles. Either CEO or you are a developer. That's it. Any one role you can have. So a point is like this. One profile per person. Okay. One role per person. Fine. As many permissions set to a person. Very good question. Very good question. So you're asking a question, me saying that hey, already a profile is there, already permission set are there to give multiple things or to take up the access. Why separately a role is required? See, profile is the one which says, hey, I created a field. Should I show that field or not? I created an application. Should I show that or not to him when he logs in? Now, the moment he logs in, I should show the data or not. So to control the data, role is important. Getting to control the data. I can open up the data. So now if I say read, create, view all, modify all, if you give all the permission, these all are waste. Getting? But I give only a basic read access here. But I somewhere in the role hierarchy, I say that if he is my downside the guy, I can modify that particular read data to edit data. Getting? A sales rep is created. Just he has a create access you think. Sales rep, he is just having a create data. See every object what will have is will have these permissions. Read, write, edit, view all, modify all. You getting? So let's assume you are giving write access, read access to a particular object called as let's say account. Let's say account. Account is like a table you think. So we have read access and write access you think. But he cannot edit the record. He is a sales rep. Now to edit this record, he cannot do it. His manager can do it. How do you say that his manager will have edit access? Who knows whether he has an access or not? So that is what at this is IPB manager. I've given access to all you think. If it is IPB sales rep for that particular account, I would have given only read write access. Getting? You assume this is an IPB manager, a profile which is having all level of access you think for an account. See, object can be as many objects you can have standard object, custom objects, n number of objects you can have. I'm just taking one example of an account table or object where I'm giving a read access, write access, all the access to IPB manager. Same level of application for again I create IPB sales rep, another profile. In that profile for the same object, I give only these two operations. I don't give everything. So sales guy came, he created the record, saved, and he went off. Now something went wrong there. So only his manager can modify the record, where the sales rep cannot modify the record. So he is requesting to his manager, please modify that value because he don't have an access. Now how do I know that he is my manager? Only he can modify whether he has access or not. So how do the connection comes here? So for that, role hierarchy is important. So what in the role hierarchy you feel it? So I'll tell you. CEO, CFO, and let's say uh, director. Under that you maybe have a senior manager and then a normal manager. Under this we have reps. You getting? Now a rep has created a record here. If I have configured the role hierarchy, who is my below, who is my below, if that the things if I configured hierarchy if I configured, so my manager can see this record, right? So at that time this guy can modify his data, right? So only if we configure this role hierarchy, it is easy to do a change on someone's record. Or else I should have a blank path where my admin has to do it. Of course, anyone who has admin level access go modify anyone's record it is possible. But on a structured way, if you see, my IPB manager can modify my IPB sales rep data. If you want to have the structure, please have a role hierarchy. What this role hierarchy is roles controls on records. Roles controls on records. So it is R for R. Roles for records. Mhm. So you're asking, can I do it from the profiles also? See, of course you can do, but ideally, why should I give my company policy is that I should not give edit access to that particular rep. Then how to do it? See, what I've mentioned is somewhere here. The point is somewhere. Hmm. Profile is the highest level access configured. Yes. So they are the highest level profile access which will have always in the profile side. If you give read ready to view all modifier if you do and somewhere you trying to control it will never happen because one side you already open man you cannot stop anything there. So like that it is. So they are the highest level. So do not give at the highest level. Go somewhere else and give open up the access. Now when we say open up the access, who are there? If you say they are called as OWD, org wide default. So in this again when a security chapter will see. So what is this all talking about? So here we say um, role based sharing records. Getting and what is sharing? So sharing records. We have another options also, and the third one is manual sharing. So this is based on criteria. Got it? So what is this? These guys are talking about org what default settings. What they do is what they do is I'll just give example of one particular object. Let's say supplier, or we can think it as a product. Product is the object thing or a table thing. For this product at a profile level, I didn't give any access. Read also I didn't give. What I do is at a OW level, I'm making it as a private. What I did. So in OW we have private, public, public read only, public read write. A level of access we have. For every object we can give that. When I say at OW level, product object is a private if I say, so no one can see someone's data. Only where I created my data, I can see my data. That's all. You getting? You logged into a system, you created a record, you only can see it. No one else can see it. Even the CEO cannot see it. You getting? You have just went to a product, you created a product, you created a product, and you have saved the product. Only you logged in, you created, you only can see it. No one else can see it. OW is the most restrictive access we have. In the profiles, we have not given any access you think. Don't assume again in the profile you give view all modify access you given and then you come and putting it as private. Again that is waste. So again profile level you should take off everything. Should take off everything. You should not give anything. And you make this as a private. Now slowly we need to give access via through role based sharing or manual sharing or sharing by criteria. So role based sharing means this is the role based sharing where you have a role saying that I'm a CEO, I can modify his data. Okay, I can see his data, whatever is created. Now sales rep, I told him like he created the record, I cannot look at here. I told very beginning, sales rep has created a data. What data is created? Some XYZ data is created, only has a read and create option he had, but doesn't have an edit option I said. How do I distinguish that? In the role hierarchy, I will distinguish it. Is any questions? I don't know whether too many things you are jumping here. Okay, let me explain scenario wise. Scenario 1. In the scenario 1, what is ideal best practice if you think? Scenario 1, sales rep can create or read the product records. Getting? So sales rep maximum can, okay, let's put this. Sales rep can maximum create and read records on products. So this is scenario 1. The next scenario is sales manager can modify the product record created by sales rep. Next question, getting this question? So he has created or no, he has created the record and he can read the record whatever he has created. And the sales manager he can go and modify that particular record whatever the sales rep has created because he is his manager. Yeah. Now how to achieve this technically fitting? How to achieve this technically fitting? Yes, of course we have profiles. First thing is you should go. What is this? Debug skills. I'm just will say as debug skills. What the first thing you have to see is go quickly check the profile. Go check the profiles of what? Sales rep and see object access. We call this object settings. In object settings, see product. What what will be there here? So whether he has read, write, edit, view all, modify all. So check this whether this action he has access or not. If it is not their access, any up to this, then what you have to do? Then you have to quickly again jump to the another where you have to see the sharing settings, or we call it as OWD. So in the OWD what we have? We quickly check for a product object what is the access we have they made as private or public read only or something, right? I'll mark it as public. So what I'm trying to say is if this scenario they're gonna give, first thing is you have to jump and see in the profile. No access. The next thing is you're gonna see the sharing settings. Okay, they have access what? In this they're given a private. So in this they have marked as a private. That means what? Only the data whatever you can create you can see. And it doesn't have an access to modify the record also. Fine. So who can modify? Still it's a private, no one can modify on behalf of him. So only his manager can modify. Though it is a private. So how do I open this access? So then I go create a sharing. Solution to this is I gonna create a sharing share records. Share the record based on role. Share the record based on role. Now, how do I do it? If I already have something like this configured role hierarchy, it will be easy for me. Hey, the records whichever created by reps, open up to manager. I can do that. Getting? Share the record based on role. Not only role, you can go by through manual sharing also you can do. What is that manual share? One who create, he can create the sharing access to someone. Guys getting? What do you mean manual sharing is? If you have manual share access permission, you created a record, you are sharing to someone else. It is something like you created a WhatsApp group, you are sharing something to some person. That is basically sharing. It is manually sharing. At a group level, if someone posts, everyone would be visible, right? So two things are there. Hmm. See, any concept you take, even WhatsApp you take, it will be controlled by someone. Admin. Admin can have an access to add and remove people. Getting. But whereas a normal admin guys over there, only they can post the content. They cannot add another person also in the picture. So likewise, your manager can see your data, he can modify your data, whatever he can do. He can remove you also. Whatever the things you're doing it. He can modify and then he can change the content also. Like how generally in WhatsApp group you see. But a non a sales rep who is having access is a non-admin in WhatsApp group. He cannot do anything. Only he can do his activity. But he can monitor the data. So what one thing we don't see is managers data we cannot see. We said no, it's not like that in WhatsApp general group. It is like anyone can post anything. So no, it didn't cause there, or no, it didn't changes there. It is all visible. But in the actual development of a Salesforce or any other application, managers data I shouldn't see. That is like it is a data privacy. Okay. So according to the scenario one, what I'll do is if I want to implement this, sales rep can create or read the products. Okay, go to the object settings, make it as a private, and go to the profile for that particular any sales rep profile, and for the product remove all the access not required because you should see only his data and you should create and read only. No any other options he has. Okay. So only read and create is said. So I may have a read and create also at sometimes. Yes, I cannot take all. Then you can never do anything. So read and create access this guy I can give in this case because you are expecting for read and create. I will not give edit, view all, modify all. Not give. I'll give only read and write. That means read and create. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, man. Raj, go ahead. So that is the reason we have to open up access via through permission set and associate that permission to that particular user. I said, Sachin, hey, give this to application access. That means only to this guy. If you go at now profile level and change, all the five people should be having all the application access. And I guess that it's a data breach. Why we have to show all the application to him? So one is via through permission set you're opening to only one user. But look at this. Like under him, so many sales rep are there. Every sales rep would be having only read and write option. According to this scenario, sales rep profile itself has a product access only read and write. What to do? Now, every other sales profile who are like five people who join the company, only they will have read and write. They doesn't have a edit access. So how do you implement this? Go to profile at the product level, just give read write access. Good. They have read and write, but no edit and create or whatever. Now, because he himself cannot modify the data. It's okay, fine. How this is achieved? Here it is read and write. At a public, what is it? OW level, this particular object should be private. Only then no one can see his data. Of course, I told yesterday one sales rep should not see another sales rep data. How do I do that? Firstly, your all of your individual records should be private. Only then you cannot see by someone else. So that is what I'm making as private at the product level. Getting very important. Anything you don't want to show to anyone, make the object as private. Leave it so that only they themselves can create, create and they themselves can see. Then who can see? Their manager let they see. Why other people should see? How we are saying that only his manager will see? We are sharing the records based on role. So here I will say the record. Here I will say the configuration where records created by role called sales rep open to sales manager. Getting? So this basic configuration, you will have an option. I'll tell you. I'm just writing verbally here. Records created by role sales rep open to sales manager. Done. So these simple things would do whatever this guy is creating. All the sales manager can see. Getting? So at that time, what level of access you they will ask you? I will say public radar. Right. So this is the option that will come in the drop down. You saying that from a sales rep, whatever is done, you are accessing to sales manager. Now what level of access this manager should have? Only read level I'll give. Or should I give a read write also? You can control there also. So I know I've created my data. I'm a sales rep. I'm a no. I have done. My manager. He's seeing my data. Should the manager should edit the data or only read the data? That also you can control. I'm saying. So I'm just giving public read write. So that he can modify his data. So this scenario is achieved. Got it, right? So this scenarios we have achieved now. Sales rep can create data and then manager can modify the data. Along with the debug skills, we have just analyzed and we have figured out. Okay, by debugging it, we got to know profile should have only read and write. Sharing should be private, and then share the records based on role. Yes, of course, role hierarchy we created so that it matches. Hmm. All this scenario we're gonna do it. All this scenario we're gonna test it out. So that's the reason I'm putting it all in the paper now. So ideally, this first six chapters would take little time. Why? Because it is the fundamental to understand. So of course we can't skip anything here. We need to be little slow pace because once you know this, then only you can understand that okay, sales was fundamental. I know. Getting? So I can say profile will do this, I'll do that, this. But how many each and every point that we mention is it's not a forgettable things. Anytime you can remember Salesforce, this ideal statement would be. So not only if profile now Salesforce, any CRM stuff or any application at the enterprise level you build it, you need to have these many options. Something should be restricting, something should be little open up, and something should be like configuring, and then what level data I can see. Now don't get confused with the profiles and the roles or this type of sharing. Why? Profile is always for a settings giving at a higher level. I am saying that hey, this particular app should be visible or not to you. This particular field should be visible or not to you. That is all they do at the profile level. But that particular field, data should be visible or not. What data should flow in, whether it should be read or write, all that can be controlled at a role level. And anyway, individually, your data you can see whatever it is fine. But someone to see that we cannot control at the profile. You guys getting? So I can show that whatever the read, write, access, edit, access, whatever you have, you can show by your records, whatever is fine. But someone wanted to see your data, then some connectivity should be there, right? I cannot give open up general. Profiles are would be only configuration you give it, it will be general. So what is there in the general? I need to restrict somewhere. My manager has to see things, some things. My C has to see, see few things. My sales rep should not see few things. So all this I cannot control at the profile level. So that is not possible. So only we have these things, arg voids and role hierarchies. Who should see, what should see, all that we configure here. Getting? So Raj, are you clear? Kumar, what about you? Okay, perfect. Okay, let's quick. This is a very important session, so I'm just spending a little time here. Now let's throw away some few questions. Let's see how do you answer for it. Raj, to you first. I assume you are a marketing lead What do you mean marketing lead? You are holding a profile of marketing lead, and you have to see all the campaigns. Campaigns is again like a table where again all the fields and whatever it will be there in the campaigns. Now for you, it is you are having all the access. Read, edit, modify, view all the access you have, and you're basically your lead. At the profile level, they were given all the access to you. Now, now a sales rep has been involved here. You're a marketing lead. Marketing sales rep is there, so he has only read access. Where only has a read access. So now, the moment he has read access, and for a campaign, they marked as a in OW they marked as a private. Let's put this. He's a marketing lead. You're a marketing lead at profile level. At a profile level, you have read, write, read, view all, modify all. Your marketing sales rep has only read access. Maybe your write access also. Creating access. So read access is what I really fine. Read or write access yes. On which? On the campaign object. All these are all discussions going on campaign object. Getting campaign object. All right. So at a marketing lead level, you have a this particular OW level. What we did is we marked as a private. Marketing. There's a manager also above you. Above you, he's a manager also there. At a profile level for this guy, campaign record is read only. At a profile level, somehow for this manager they kept as only read. Now what will happen? Sales rep logged in. He created a record. He created a record. Will the marketing lead will be able to see the sales rep record? I didn't configure anything. I didn't configure any role sharing anything. Role sharing means what you know. I specifically mention any records created by the role sales rep to open up to sales manager. I have openly mentioned here to give a public reader access. Such things I did not mention at all here. Basically sharing only I didn't give. My object is private. For the marketing lead, I've given all the access. Like at the profile level, I've given view all modify all the access. For a manager profile, I just give only read. For a sales rep, I given read right. Now, marketing lead, I'm asking question is can he see all the records? Whichever created by the sales rep. Marketing lead. Hmm. Okay, what about marketing manager? No, no, can you see sales rep data? That is a thing that we have. Hmm. So, Kumar, do you have any questions here? Hmm. Okay, so this is a situation where if I have an option called as grant access using hierarchy spelling. Okay, so grant access user using hierarchy. There's a checkbox. If I checked, if the checkbox, if I checked, then I can expect whatever you're saying. Sales rep credit data, marketing can see, marketing credit data, a manager can see. If the grant access using hierarchy, this checkbox is not checked, sales rep record, even the marketing guy cannot see. Sorry, manager cannot see. Why? Because there's no role such things like this you present. There's no roles like this. Open up the roles you didn't present anything or didn't you write on the custom. What is it on a which object it is? Campaign object. You didn't even mention it. So then you cannot expect for it. So grant access using hierarchy means yes, I wanted to have an access whichever the guy who is creating a sales rep, I can directly see at the marketing level. So I need not to even have a marketing lead in the between. I can directly come from here and I can see the data. Getting? I'm bypassing the lead and then I'm coming and seeing here if I have this access. How a CEO can directly come and see our record? Because we all bypass the middle layer. I don't care who is the middle. Because I can see everyone's data. Getting? So if you have this grant access using hierarchy checkbox is checked, so then yes, of course, at the hierarchy level, I can come down to anyone's record, I can see it. If that checkbox is not checked, and of course, marketing lead, which have generally at the profile level all the access, irrespective he is giving a role open, role sharing, making private, this doesn't matter to him because he has at the profile level he has access to all. So no more any confusion, this guy can have access to all. But the problem is here, if we don't have a connections here, so then it's a problem where manager cannot see what the record has been dealt here. If the grant access using hierarchy it is present, yes, of course, this record can be seen at here. But the problem is his profile is having only read, only can read. That's it. That is implied. No one can change. At a profile level, someone is marked as read, so that is the max he can have. Of course, if you write some role hierarchy and then says the stuff as read, write, public read, write, if you do, he can modify the record. Unless if you don't specify anything, then it's a problem. So he cannot even see the record. Where only the record whichever he created, that only he can see. Why? Because at an object level, at an object level, campaign object is private. OWD is marked as private. What we can do? Private means only their data they can see. That's it. That too here we have only create access to sorry read access to him. How will he read a record without he created? Crazy, right? So he can never create a record. Only he can read a record. But to read a record, he doesn't have an access. So that is a case one. So only if you have a grant access using hierarchy we can do this. Mhm. So if at the profile level, if you have all the higher level access, don't no care. So we can see anyone's data. You are like an admin for that object. But at the profile level, you have a very minimal. Like see, this manager has only read. So bad. Oh, he has only read. So and the grant access has been taken off. Even the sales rep data he cannot read. Why? Why we do so? Because his profile is saying read. That's it. And the object itself at the OW level, it's marked as private. Still, still, where are you saying the public? Hmm. Again, you should have at least view access, modify access. View all access only if he has, you only can see the record. See, someone else created a record, I cannot see, no. OWD public, why we say is, okay, we don't have restriction on to the sharing level. Org wide default settings means is the more restrictive access we say. When you mark it as private, no one else can see the data that we say. But please don't go and read all these, put all to into the profile side. Some side I'm making as private. How can you make at some other side you are opening the access? One side you're opening, closing the tab, other side you're opening it. It's just like that. Anyway, water will spill out. To open to first of all to close the tab, firstly main junction should be closed properly. Open the tab properly. Open the tab in the sense the small tab which we say it is OWD. The bigger tab which I'm saying is profile. Don't give it the profile side. Profile you take off everything. Need not to be worried. If you give anything in the profile, it will override even the OWD also. See, read, create all you can give. Read, create it all you can give. View all modify, we should not give it. View all modify means you are giving to anyone you can go and modify. To anyone you can go and view. Getting? So if you give such view all modify access in the profile only, then it is a problem, right? You can modify anyone's record. So then this hierarchy is waste. Okay, what I was trying to say is here, I will show you. So sharing settings, right? I'll show the sharing settings. So far I was talking about OWD, more into theoretic, you can see it. Organization by defaults. See each and every object they will have public read write. See here, activity they might is private somewhere. What do you mean by grant access using hierarchies? That this is the option which I'm saying. Onto the lead object, if I say as grant access using hierarchies, now the role over here we mention, yes, manager can see the sales rep data. At least he can read. If the grant access using hierarchy is checked unchecked, then sales rep data only maybe marketing guys can see. This guy can never see. Whatever marketing lead also created record he cannot see. So crazy it is. So we need to have a grant access using hierarchy so that at least the hierarchy will fall irrespective of the access we have. At least they can see the data. Getting? So that is what we have here. And you can see what is meant by default internal and external access. Internal means yes within Salesforce. External means outside the Salesforce. Outside the Salesforce means someone is trying to connect from SAP and they're trying to read a record or write a record to a Salesforce. So for them outside the people we are private. They cannot directly modify the record. Getting? Internally to a Salesforce application you are creating from the UI, click right there, okay, create, read, write, whatever you do, fine. But from a third party, when you're connecting to a Salesforce and modifying the lead record, so we are not allowing you. It is private from our end. Look at this, each and every object we have a access. Somewhere it has been controlled by parent means, so they are having a master detail relationship. So we'll see in the next class what is meant by master detail. Master detail means an object, another object, so all totally controlled by the parent. I'll tell you what is that master detail in the later stage. Look at this. This is what I was saying. Someone is making us private. So for this entire arc, it is private. And if someone has already in the profile level private redirect whatever the access they have, we can't do anything. If they don't have very basic things like say read or create access only they have, whatever the activity created by the reps, a manager has to see. So then, so this type of we have to open up the access. See for every object we'll have this sharing rules. Like for activity also we'll have a sharing rules. Let's see. For activity, I think this has been controlled by someone. Mm. Say let's say lead. Assume lead is a private here. If in the future it should be marked as a private here. How do you open up the access if you see? So you need to say new. Some name you'll give it. So based on the record owner or based on the criteria. What criteria? If you have any criteria, you'll give it based on the record owner. Now record owned by who? Roles. Maybe sales. What is the director? Mm, okay, let's say sales team. Whoever the sales guys created the record, to whom to share with? Share with marketing team. So it could be one individual team or it can be one or more the specific user. See, owned by a role of this, you are sharing with whom? This guy. Which level access? Read only or read write. So this is what I was mentioning here. At an object level, this guy is private. OW setting level, what you're doing is you are making it as record to be shared with whom? Sales rep, whatever he has created, you are sharing to sales manager. And you can give read write. They see this. This is how we open the access to a respective object when it is private. And my manager has to see. How do I see? How do you will know that you will see it? Only by giving such configurations. My role is sales rep and sharing with the sales with sales manager. Getting? Yes, I am the owner of the record, so I am a sales rep. So that's the reason I've given based on the record owner. You cannot give other criteria which will not match sometimes scenarios. How will I know that if my email is equal to this, then share? So that sometimes will not be good. Now I can say record based on the owner. Sales rep created the record and who is owned by sales rep, share with sales manager and give him related access. So that's how that particular private record, whatever created by the reps, can be seen by their higher level hierarchy managers. Any questions? Hiraj Kumar there. So perfect. So we are good with here the things and let's quickly go create the role hierarchy and then be ready with that. Then I can give assignments for a profiles one I'll create and then you can also create a couple of them. So roles I'll go. So territory based. We are let's say we are a product based company and we why we have a product based because every other different size of role hierarchies will have. If I say company size based, all the same only. Product product based same sample. So this is how the sample would look like. Sales rep, company size. Let me go with the product based. No problem. International Private Bank is the organization or the bank we have because the company itself is International Private Bank. And under that we have a CEO. If I expand the CEO, I can see CFO, COO, so many people they can see. So now, of course, this all would be there. So what I can do is I can create an additionally new role respective to our design. So you can delete each and everything. You can delete it off. Still, that is fine. But I can associate few things here also. Look at this. So many we have roles. VP International Sales, like that we have. So in the VP International Sales, we can specifically have VP Marketing so on. So sales and marketing. Let me come here and add a new role. So at a marketing level, I'm just going to do it only for Indian region. So International Private Bank Sales Manager. Sales Bank Manager. Let me put this way. Sales Bank Manager. And he is reporting to who? Sales and marketing. What the role should be displayed on? Um, yeah, Sales Bank Manager. So I'm gonna save this. Do you see this? Under SVP, VP Sales Marketing, IVP Sales Manager has been there. I would say India. I would say India Sales Manager. Okay. Sorry for this. Because which country will not know, so I'm just putting this as India. India Sales Bank Manager. Do you get this? Under this, we have to add another role called as sales reps. So you can have as many roles, even the state wise, region wise, everything you can clutter out. Based on that, you can have managers. So India sales bank manager report. Now again, under that sales bank manager, I have a subsection as called as east, west, north, south, east region, a different reps, north region different reps. I can still make this on complex. At least that's how a big banks would be there. If you have 1,000 people or 5,000 people, employees more plus, correct? Even the IT teams would come, even the HR teams would come. So many teams would be there a part of this. So under the IP India sales, so you can see IPB sales rep. See if you don't require this also, you can all delete it off. Directly you can report to CEO CFO. What you have to do is all together, you have to just go add a role and then add a guy in this between. You can add a role here and say assistant, and you can say add a role called as PA, whatever. This is all we can do. But what my ideology here is these reps, I would create a profile later stage, and for bank manager also I would create a profiles later stage, same level. Like sales bank manager, I'll create another profile. Sales rep, I'll create another profile. Only this based on these two, I'll play. So that's the reason I've created these two roles. So any questions here? Sales rep, representative, bank manager. Fine. So roles are set now. What we'll do is we'll quickly come to our profile. See, if I click a new profile also, it says existing profile to clone with. Is getting? So I'm just gonna create a system admin because my manager should have all access. IBB India. I don't specify here India and all because it's a basically sales manager profile. IBB sales manager profile. That's the name I'm going to give up for a profile. But the problem is this guy will have access to all the applications because we are cloning from system administrator and the license is this. You getting? So that's the reason what I do is I will just save this. See IBB sales bank manager profile. It says it's a custom profile and the problem is you have access to all the applications and all the objects whichever you have because it is cloned from system admin. What I have to do is I have to knock off all the access which is not required. So when this guy is just moment logging in, he shouldn't have access to these many applications. Maybe let him have a default application. I don't want he should have all the application. See this default organ has this many applications. So I have taken access to all. Only the moment when he logs in, he will say sales. That's it. And so later stage I'll take off whichever the object is not required to. Let's say so it's okay. Authorization form. I don't want access this to this. Card payments. I don't want access to this. Coaching and all I don't want. Communication. So I'll just remove the access which is not required like that. So like this I can remove off whichever is not required. So let me save this. So what currently I have is I have a sales bank manager profile. I've created it. So if you see users, we don't have any users so far. We have don't have any users so far. So what should we do is so we'll create a record. We'll create a user basically not record and associate to this profile. So the moment when he logs in, so what an admin is seeing, so those things he cannot see, like say sales, marketing, cloud, so many things we have. but you cannot see because I have taken all the application access and only I put sales a default app I've given access to him. So let me go create a new user. So now I have got an options to choose the role. See, role is not a mandatory to, again, this is a very important point of interview questions. Role is optional to save a user record. Yes. Beginning this. Role is optional to save a record. Uses a user record. That means this is user record. I can give, I cannot also give this. But without a profile, we cannot create a record. We cannot even create a user also. See, there's no none option here. So there's no none option here. So let's say with the none option, I'm just proceeding with thing. Let's see. So what is this license? Again, it's talking if a thing. Under the license only, we can create all the profiles. License is basically based on the price. So you bought this Salesforce as a license. So this will have a different price for it. Under this no, license, you can create such so many profiles. Getting? So under license only, everything this will all fall under. If the license is cheaper, you'll go to some other like work.com, salesforce.com, but you can have only a profile which is having minimal access. So under this all if thing, Salesforce is the highest level access we have. Any license to this, these are the profiles which is created. Under the license of Salesforce, they have created these many profiles. Like say IBB Sales Manager have created under the license of Salesforce. How many licenses you buy for a Salesforce? The name itself is a Salesforce license. So how many such license you buy? Only those many users you can create. You can have thousands of profiles, no matter. But how many users are actively present? That would cost the license cost. Guys, you getting? We have a license called this. I've chosen this license. Let's say 5 license only you bought. You can have a thousands of profiles here. We don't care. But using this profile, one among them like this you choose, and then you create 5 users. That's the max you can do. No restriction on creating a profiles and all. Only to associating to user. Of course, 5 users only can create it because only you bought 5 license. Okay. So now for a Salesforce, we have a system administrator, and let's say a role let me give IBB. So I'll put Dev Bank Manager. So now let's give your email and these configurations. So who's want to go as a manager? No, it's ideally like we'll give everyone's email and then we'll have to use it. So email. So here I don't give for the username Gmail and all. I'll give so ipb.com. What is that? Internationalprivatebank.com. And the username I can give as um, dev. Okay, we'll have only one user, right? So let's give this manager at ipb.com. So this is fine. So without this, if I'm trying to save, let's see what happens. Without a profile, I'm trying to save what happens. See, you must enter a value here. Profile is a must value here. But if I give without a profile also, it will save. So if I save, it will go off. See, look at this. Without a role also, I were able to create a record. But without a profile, it's not possible. Okay. So let me edit. I have my role already defined, so I will give a role here. Sales Bank Manager. So are we good here? So Raj, you would have got an email. So quickly set the password. Oh, hold on a second. So I shouldn't give a profile as system admin to you. Already we have created a profile for you. Sorry for that. IBB Sales Bank Manager profile is the one which I have given to you. That's the custom one which we have created. No, only that should be there. Anyway, for it is not any cause. You can go quickly jump in, and then you can create a password and you can share with us. So I'll go to the profile and okay, anyway it is cloned, right? Cloned profile of system admin. So IP range is also restricted. Since I cloned from the system admin, already I had a value for the IP ranges. So even that also it got copied. No problem. So now let me logging in as a login.salesforce.com manager at ipb.com internationalprivatebank.com. So what is the password? Yeah, go ahead. So it will ask you to verify the password, right? So verify the user. Click on that, create a username and so create a password for your manager at ipb.com. So if you're not able to do it, I can resend the password link to you. So did you click on verify? How without a password? Okay, let me resend the link. Let me reset your password. So to your email ID, now a reset password link would have come. Click on the link so that it will ask you to set a password. Okay. So, so what I'll do is in meanwhile, I'll try to mm, if I want to take off the access this guy to sales rep. So there are a couple of options already we given. No, I have to remove all of them. Yeah. So this manager which is having this Raj at 12345. So now let me log in with his credentials. So I don't want to register my phone. You see this? He has a sales axis, no items here so far. See, almost no access, right? So only the basic things we have access. So, so we are strictly following that. Hey, manager, what he can have access so far now? Only sales as in being application, but no items here. So later on, we'll try to open up the access for each and individual, like manager and sales guy, and slowly the object which you are focusing as a part that we can do it. Which one? In this data model, we are thinking, like suppliers or products. So those things will open up here, and you can see those things. Tomorrow I'll have not have a sales also. I'll have a international private bank, so we can do that. So in meanwhile, what I'll do is I'll clone a same profile. I'll clone the same profile and give it as a sales rep. But we have to remove the few access here. That's a crazy one. No problem. See this license, I'm choosing it, right? That's the reason on the side license when you select on a user, it shows this. IVV sales rep. So this is a new profile which I created. So now I'll try to create a new user for this profile and I'll give a commercial name there. So it's a rep dev sales. So role I'll give sales rep and license also Salesforce. The problem is here. Only two license in developer or they give it. So bad. No problem. So we have to create another sales rep. Um, Salesforce license is the one which is we have admin, right? So only two license they give it. One is for developer who actually created this org. One more admin we can have. That is what for our sales managers we had. Um, so what should we do is so we have to think intelligently. Current scenario. We have to activate a user and we have to deactivate a user if we see. Just a minute, please. So standard platform is a license we have. Let me check this profile. What are the basic access they have? Let's see. So they have accounts fine. They have contacts fine. Accounts, contacts, campaign. So they don't have an object level access. Simple configuration they have. Hmm. Campaigns we may run, we may not run. Hmm. Let me check. Okay, products and products they don't have. Hmm. So all our profiles having this only, no problem. So what to do is we have to go to sales bank manager, and the user who is there. So since it's a developer org, we have to play like this. This particular manager, I have to go edit and deactivate this user. Why? Because so that this particular profile would be accessible now. So we have to turn on, turn off to see the records. No other options we have. So I'll tell you what is happening. So only one license we have left over. So what I'm trying to do is try to create two users, fine, but I'll activate only one at one moment when we're testing it, and deactivate at the other moment when we're testing another profile. Switching over. Guys getting? See, now I got the Salesforce. Why you get this? You know something? We have licenses left over when it is only one, and that has been used by someone else, then it will go off. And again, how did this came back? So when you deactivate a user, so the license will open up. Now, anyway, you have deactivated, right, the user who no more have an access to any license now, and that license has been given to you. Again, you can go add him to anyone. But there's another option called as freeze. When you do a freeze, even the license will not show. Still, the license will be counted. I'll show you that option also. So, Kumar, I'll just create your name on the rep side. I'll put just simply a rep at nationalproudband.com. Fine. So this will be easy for us to quickly check the results. Now let's see, I'm gonna create a record, so this will automatically fire an email to you. So there's an option called as freeze here. So freeze, you do it, he will not log in for a minimum. What you mean freeze is when you go for a temporary vacation and you come back, we will do freeze, but your license will be counted. When you're leaving the company itself, we will deactivate you so that that particular license can be used by some other new people who are coming in. Getting? But freeze is a temporary thing where for a time durations you will go and come back, so we'll freeze you in between, so no one to access your system. So that's the reason we do a freeze. But in doing a freeze, license will be counted. Like we have a current scenario now, only one license was there. That also we've used it. And let's say like we have freezed you, and that particular license will never be available to anyone to use it. So let's say our bank manager have deactivated it. So now we got this license to use it. So that's the reason I were able to create. Now again, I want to use a bank manager profile to activate. So then there's no license. So what I have to do is I have to come and deactivate this, and then I have to go activate that, and then I have to test it out. Is it clear? No problem. Free developer or that was the max they can give. Mm. So what is the password you have to say? We'll see login, and we'll configure things according to us which is required. So what is the password? This is caps. Salesforce. One is the number or okay. So this is the password we have. So let me log in. Yeah. So I'll log out this user. It's not no more. It's a valid one because you have deactivated. So automatically it only went up. So Salesforce one. See, now I was able to log in as a rep. So both the ways we got configured today. So rep we seen, managers we seen, how the profile and other stuff works that also we've seen. Now like IBB manager, a user is added. IBB sales, one user is added. And currently we have given only sales application access. So tomorrow we will try to create international no, private bank application and other couple of objects we'll try to create, and then we associate all to the respective profiles. Getting? So that way, so we will be able to cover up tomorrow these two things. So what you've seen, user roles, profiles, permissions that we have seen today. Trust me, this we cannot jump very fast because it's a very important to understand in terms of administration. So these are the basements. Sorry, we cannot move very fast in these two things. This one. And so what happened? So what I was saying is there is a grant access using hierarchy checkbox at each and every object at OWD. Assume this is not checked. Assume that is not checked. And let's talk an assumption where it is not checked. Okay. So now what happens? On a campaign object, we marked as a private. So once you say it is a private, so in a OWD, if you set as a private, no one can see another's data where your own record you can see it, whichever you created it. Agreed? So point number one, whichever you created, you can see. So now let's say sales rep is having a read write access. He went and created a record. Okay? Now his manager is marketing lead. Basically, his report is marketing lead. That guy is having read write view all access. Absolutely. So in this case, we don't need even access also because this marketing guys can see anyone's record. Not only sales rep, you can see CEO's data also. You can see anyone's record because he has view all modify access. Not even modify all. He has view all access. View all access means anyone's data I can see. Modify means anyone's data I can modify. So this is what view all modify says about. Getting? So he has view all access, so he can see anyone's data. So next thing is another, to the marketing lead, his report is another manager we have, but that guy at a profile level we have only read access. So bad. Someone changed you thing or whatever happened, some wrong. So he has only with the profile level read access he has. There's a concern we are getting it from a marketing manager saying that, hey, I'm unable to see anyone's data. Are you guys working really? So I don't see any data flowing to me. So marketing manager asked you. Now how do you troubleshoot? First thing is you go quickly see OWD. Okay, OWD is private, so that is the reason. No one's data. This is data we can see. So that's the reason managers cannot see someone's data since OWD is private for a campaign object. Agreed. So next thing what he's doing is he's checking marketing manager profile. Oh my god, he's having read access. He doesn't have view all access. Okay, still fine. Now let's come to OWD and see grant access using hierarchy is checked. So you come and check the grant access using hierarchy. The moment you check, whoever the sales rep got created record, whatever, so it is flowing to his level because hierarchy is set. If the hierarchy is already set, rep, manager, lead, all these are hierarchy is set. So whatever he's created data, it will flow to you for sure. For a manager, it will flow for sure. If the hierarchy is not set, then again it's a crazy. It is disconnected. You cannot have that, see the data. So point number one I'm saying is hierarchy is important. Your hierarchy is set, fine. That is the first troubleshoot I do. Second thing what I do is at a profile level he has read access, no mind, but it's okay, fine. We go to see OWD. At least the grant access using hierarchy should be checked so that you can see your hierarchy, which is the down beneath the data you can see through for a manager. If that is not checked, I have to check it to see the data. And once this is the data, if the manager says I don't want only to read, I can also modify also. So then what you can do is you need to go at a profile level, you need to change, or else we have to write a separate sharing rules. Whoever the sales rep data created, whatever, I need to have a like this public read write. I need to have the access that you need to write a sharing rule there. Record owned by sales rep, share with what? Share with marketing manager directly. and access is public read write. Getting? So in that case, whatever he has created, you can also do a read write access. Fine? Hmm. No, I didn't get you. No, I didn't get your question. When OW is required. See, firstly, no, profile is not the good way to deal with. Profile is not the good way to deal with. It's not having discipline there. Anything you open up in. So your question is why OW is required? Why not in the profiles only you can do it? See, profile is like a. See, what I can do is I'll tell you one thing. You go to a kitchen, you have all the items present there. You have all the items present there. Let's say rice and then other vegetables, whatever you brought, all the things you have. But for a breakfast, how much you would prepare? Whatever the item you have, entire things you'll prepare, or only the minimal things which is required that you'll prepare for it. You will do what is required for you. You will take a quantity and then you minimal you prepare, right? So that is thing is now profile is something like a kitchen where you have all the things. You will not go do it in one go. So if you do it in one go, what is use to have such big kitchen and then in anyway you will be wasted with. So that is not a disciplinary way. So what you do is you use minimal things to cook up and then to eat, right? So for that we have to restrict ourselves, saying that hey, per day only this much I'll take. Of course, the restriction is very important for any application or for any lifestyle. So that is what I'm saying here. OW something is restricting to you. We say it as a private, and then we open up the access slowly. How? Giving access to kitchen to open up few things and then cook it. Same way, we made it as a private, and then we opening up slightly in access to give data access to one to another. If I give at the profile level only, so then this OW is no more a picture. Like the other example which I was giving to you is go to kitchen, you cook entire thing. The thing which you bought is 10 kg of rice, you book 10 kg of rice, you booked it. I mean cooked it. And you can eat anyway minimal and you leave it off. Other things are wasted. Getting? So likewise, if you do, OW is no more required in that case. OW now you said as a public. Now, fine. Anyone can see others' data. See, we may in if we may require in a few state as a OWD public private read and all we required. When unless and until everyone is okay to view this data, so we don't care. Getting? Profile level you just given read access, but in OW level you have given full access. Fine. Profile you are restricted, but in OW you give full access. Now in sharing and rules and something, you give it for granting hierarchy level you giving full access. It is not meant for a particular guy you give access. OW full access if you give for hierarchy it is helpful, not for the individual person it is helpful. So full access means we are saying for a hierarchy only. We are saying for the records can be seen by my manager and he can do whatever the records he can play with. So I'm giving that level access at hierarchy, not for individual profile. When I say not even at the hierarchy level also they should not enjoy, okay, then I should restrict saying that private. My data is so privacy, I will not show to anyone. Who can see? Only my reporting manager, and unless I give a public read it, he can do the stuff. It is so sensitive. Hierarchy and not only hierarchy, sharing a records. You can do manual share also. So you created a record, you are the owner, you can do share to let's say to another manager. You are a sales rep, you cannot share a record to another sales rep. That cannot happen. But a manager can do, hey, this guy, sales rep, went on vacation. Take this record, you access it now. You do the deal. Getting? So he's doing a manual share of one record to another record, one rep to another reps. Where manager can do at a lower level people, one record he can share to another record. He do this work, he is not done, he left like that. Mm. Which one? Permission set is the something that you give additional access to only particular user. So when you say about only one particular user, we are focusing on only one user. It is not again a group. Where we all talking here, sales rep means it is a general sales rep. I don't care how many sales rep we have. It is not only one record or one user. Any sales rep, we're gonna create a record. All their respective manager will be seeing the records. So this is what hierarchy says. Correct, right? But permission set this talks about particular user. For this guy, so he's my favorite, I'll give additional access. He's my senior guy, I'll give additional access to him. So that is something different. So to that additional level, you can bring it to whatever level you want. So OW will be voided in that case because you're giving full access to him. What matters? When you do manual share also, you can do give him as a read or read write. You can do it still. Any other questions? Okay, so creating groups is the one which you see here. When you go to public user public groups, so what you do is you're gonna create a new group and you can keep add users here. You want to add roles, you want to add users. See, well, this is the active user, so we got it. So we can add also roles. Roles means IFB, sales managers, both the roles, and we can say um, IPB India region. So let's say this is a group. What do you mean by group is a collection of peoples can be added to this. So I'm choosing whoever is holding the sales bank manager or sales rep, all they will be falling under this. So group is basically a collection of users, or it can be a collection of roles. What roles will have? Again, they will have individually users. So this is how it is. IBB India region. So why I'm just creating this is when I want to send a leave notice or when I want to send an emergency notice to Indian region. So I will all send the email message to this particular group. Under this group, how many people we have? All these roles we have. We can have a number of roles. Each role will have separate users. To everyone, an email would be fired for a thank you email for or welcome for a 2021. So like that we can do. Group means nothing but a collection of users would be part of that. So that is what it indicates. Creating groups. I'll tell you where it is used, when it is used. So creating groups, creating queues, all the same, where it is all dealing with collection of peoples. Okay, so we have done with the chapter 4 and let's start with the chapter 5. So ideally on chapter 5 the majority have taken, so no problem. Majority means we have already discussed like application object what it will be. Now tomorrow we have to practically create an application, create an object and give access to this profile and see what is happening. Okay, okay guys, I think we have extended 10 minutes. Sorry for that. For Kumar, it will be a little late, man. Sorry, Kumar. Okay. So thank you all. So I'm setting up all the email and the things we have to upload the data. Since it's my personal computer, not a personal computer, it's an office laptop. Upload is being a little risky here. So I will find a route and then share the contents to you guys. Yeah. Thank you all. Thank you. Bye bye.